Last live stream, we worked on making this really trippy squiggly line, and then we added all these really fun colors and things to it. And then we added some distortion and some lines. We did all this inside of Procreate. And now we're going to take this texture that we made in Procreate and bring this into the desktop to do some really cool 3D work with this exact image. So we made this whole entire sketch in the last couple hours on the iPad using the app Procreate. So I wanted to go for like a really warpy distortions, and here's the time lapse of it. So this is the time lapse. We start off with a bunch of black and white and gray blobs. Then we used the liquify. Then we added this bright red color. And then what we're going to be doing with this piece now is moving from two-dimensional and bringing this into the 3 dimensions. How do we take, a 2D sketch that we make on an iPad? How do we take this and make it into a 3D set of layers, a 3D piece of artwork that we can bring into lots of cool projects? So yes, we used the app Procreate. Hello, Dews. Hello, UE. Welcome, everybody. But yeah, so here we go. So we got this, right? So we made this. So this is the final piece. Right, so I put a lot of details into this. It's about a 2K resolution, and it's a big old sketch. And I've actually transferred it onto my desktop. We're going to be using a program that I actually don't normally live stream very often. This app is called Substance Alchemist. It's not Substance Painter. Substance Alchemist uses procedural AI and machine learning to interpret 3D stuff about a two-dimensional texture. You can generate it from photographs. So if you take some really cool photographs of the ground, you can bring it into here and it can extract the 3D bumps. For example, if you took a picture of like rocks on the ground, and they have like little rocks and pebbles and debris. Oh yeah, thank you, Dews. I'll go ahead and pin that. Yes, we're using Substance Alchemist right now. So I just opened it. I already sent my texture. I emailed my texture to myself. And so now we have that there. And then now we're in Substance Alchemist. So first thing we're going to do is import our texture. So we just got to find our texture. And I saved it into this new spot here. And I'm going to drag it right into this thing, which says, you just drag it in here. Now it's going to use machine learning to try to extract 3D data from that image. So they have a few options. So they have image to material. I'll zoom in for you. They have image to material, which is uses AI to try to come up with a material based off of it. We have multi-triangle to a material. They also have texture import. I'm going to do material with AI power. All right, so let's just run the AI and hit OK. AI is calculating, and it's still calculating. It's a few milliseconds. It's going to take a little bit, but not too long. It's going to try its best to come up with a procedural texture based off that. And look at that. Now, what's cool is this is not done. You know what I mean? But it's really cool how that quickly we've taken an abstract piece of artwork and have already turned it into some 3D geometry. And this is just the beginning. We basically can build off of this from here. So let's do that. I'm going to go to the Explore tab here under my base material, and we can play with the roughness. The roughness is how shiny the material is going to appear. So I can make it more or less rough. I can make it maybe more of a ceramic material, which is going to give us some nice gloss. And let's play with the base color. I'm going to maybe move this to maybe make it a little bit shinier here. I'm going to go to the basic parameters. Let's try the surface. Maybe the surface could be made out of metal, for example. Might be kind of cool. So we're going to go to a metal surface here. It still takes a couple seconds to load because it is a lot of data. All right, so now it's made out of metal, and you can see how our illustration, which was just a moment ago, it was 2D, but now within literally a few seconds of AI power, we're now having a fully 3D, material that we could use on anything. So that's how you take literally a 2D piece of artwork that you make on an iPad or on a phone. You could have done this. Procreate's a $10 app. It works on your iPhone or it works on an iPad. And then you take that and you bring it into there. You ask the AI to understand it. You can start playing with parameters. But look at how detailed this is. We got a question in the comments from Dews News. Says, can you play with the light? Yeah, this tool is mostly for designing original materials from scratch. But you can do limited light work in here. This is mostly a material designing tool. So once I make my materials in here, I bring them out into programs like Blender. I bring it out of here, bring it to Cinema 4D or Maya. I don't really do my lighting inside of Substance Alchemist, because Substance Alchemist is a material generation tool. For Android, I'm not sure what the best apps for illustrating are, but if you can create pixels on an Android device, you'll be able to take those pixel data, any kind of pixel data, and bring it into Substance Alchemist. But yeah, let's keep, what's really cool is you can actually layer materials onto here. So you ready for this? Let's do another one. We're gonna go to our Substance Launcher. I'm gonna throw some gold onto here. And now we have gold underneath, and we can change the gold depth. So I can make the gold, closer to the ground. Do some spot intensity there. Let's do some color variation. Where's our roughness percentage? Oh, there it is. So we can make it a little bit shinier gold. And then I'm gonna push the gold in a little bit closer to the model if I can. So I'm gonna go to the pit depth, and let's do that. All right, great. And we're gonna go back to our AI powered one and play with the micro detailing. And what's really cool is all the things that we're doing here can be saved as a procedural material that we can paint with in Substance Painter later on, which is really the magic and the power behind this thing. Wow, look at the bottom of that. It looks really cool. Can you explain again the different uses between Alchemist and Painter? Didn't quite get it. Oh yeah, sure thing. Yeah, so I'll flip the camera real quick. So the main differences between Substance Painter and Substance Alchemist is that Alchemist creates the materials out of photos and AI scans. It lets you kind of make materials out of things that are based in reality. Substance Painter lets you paint new objects with that material. So think of Substance Painter as a painting tool. Think of Substance Alchemist as generating new materials from scratch. There is a lot of overlap because you can kind of paint new things that don't exist in Substance Painter, but you can't really do like any of this AI stuff of dragging in images and for example, I couldn't take a photograph and bring it into Substance Painter and expect to generate all this knowledge from that image. So I use Substance Alchemist to do a lot of the AI powered work first. And now we're just gonna play with it a little bit. All right, so what we're gonna do now is I'm really happy with this material already. I mean, this looks pretty wild. You can rotate the lights around the scene as well as I'm rotating the lights here. You can, rotate around your object. I love what it did with the little dots. I mean, look at those little dots in there. It's so wild that it got all those details. But I want to take this way further. So you can do height invert, which now does the opposite. So now everything turns into a canyon. So now it's like the surface is like a black tar, or you can do alpha, height invert. And then we can play with our height strength. So I'm going to invert that again. Then we can go to our geometry equalizer. So this is when I try to flatten it out. It looks almost like the Death Star for a second. And then I can do the geometry equalizer and kind of push it all out. This is so cool that we can use AI to generate this from our painting, really. We just painted this in Procreate and now we have like the 3D world within milliseconds. Let's go to our roughness. I'm gonna play with my base value. Oh, wow, now it's all chromed out. Whoa, I'm gonna make it maybe a little bit rougher so the light kind of scatters on it a bit before. What's also cool is we can change our base material. So if you don't want to be painting on a sphere, we can also update this to other objects. Let me see if I can throw on a different object here. Where is it? Mesh. All right, let's throw on a cylinder, for example. So you can kind of see what your thing would look like in different contexts. Let me throw on a cube. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna do a plane if you just want to see on a flat plane, if you're just trying to make an environment. Wow. I can do it on a t-shirt. Whoa, that's kind of cool. Wow, I want to wear this. We can do a preview sphere. We can do a shoe. Ooh, a shoe looks kind of cool. It's good, but can be improved, I guess. Yeah, I'm just doing it to make a base material, but I wouldn't be done with it. You know, I'm just trying to generate a material using AI here, but I'm just trying to show you what is possible with this particular tool. It's very powerful. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my sphere, and then we'll go back to the Create tab, and I'm gonna play with my AI material. So I'm gonna go to my roughness, maybe make it a little bit rougher so the light kind of scatters on it a bit more. You can also play with the roughness variation, and the variation softness, and the albedo importance. We can also invert the roughness, so if we want, we can make all the highlight, all the tall areas could be shiny, and then we can make everything else matted. I really like these shadows that are in here already. I mean, this is gonna be super fun to light when we do the lighting properly. Let's go ahead and play with the de-lighting intensity. Oh wow, I actually like having the dark areas like that, so I'm gonna leave that alone. We can turn on some ambient equalizing. Whoa. Wild. All right, so I'm just kind of dragging the equalizer out there, so it kind of just creates all sorts of volumes here. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's go to our large details. Play with the slider for that. So the large detail lets you go to the large details and choose to make them more wavy or bumpy, which I want to do here. Oh yeah, the albedo is playing with the light, yes. In this case, but yeah. I'm just trying to extract a really cool shape that I'm gonna wanna play with in other 3D programs. So I'm gonna go to our micro details, make those a little bit sharper, or a little bit more bold. Let's go maybe sharper on those. And let's go to the medium details and kind of up the, oh wow, medium details looks really cool, and I sharpen that one. Gives us these really sharp shapes in the cracks and crevices. Wow, it looks like a world, a little planet. Yeah, I like that. Oh wow, that's a cool rainbow effect there. You know, I just imagine viewing this in augmented reality or viewing this in virtual reality. It's gonna be really fun. Okay, let's move on to the next material. So I'm gonna turn back on that gold from earlier. Go to our gold settings and change the pit depth. So it doesn't have to be gold, by the way. You can make it any color we want. You know, you can use this to make all sorts of different planets or something. I don't know if I want it to be, kind of wish it was a little bit lower on the hierarchy. Oh, that was weird. Don't know what that did. Let's invert that again. Looks like looks good for abstract purpose. Oh yeah, this is definitely for abstract purposes. It's going to be a piece of crypto art. I'll probably have it spinning in like an infinite white room or something with a really nice dynamics on it. You know, add some like warping or distortion. I think it'll be really fun. Oh wow, you can add some spots. That's cool. You can add some spots into the gold. I wish I could lower just the height of the blue, because I was going to try to use the blue to fill in like rivers and valleys without having to do it later, but I don't see it working quite yet. I'm going to switch this to a plane. Yeah, the blue, I want to lower the height. Oh, there's a height value there. Oh, cool. There's a height position. That's what I was looking for that whole time. Oh, that's super cool. So we can fill up the height. So it's like water. So now that I know that that's a thing, we can play with the luminosity. We can play with the metallic variations and the roughness. I can make it extra shiny now. Okay, and then let's turn this back to a sphere. What is this? Oh, it's like a piece of cloth almost. Let's go back to a rounded sphere. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. And let's play the height range. So we can push the blue in, and that'll give us some nice little rivers and lakes and valleys into the material. I'm going to play with the height position again. Ooh. Cool. Okay. Wow. Color variation. What's this one? Okay. Let's play with the colors. So I had that pink from earlier. I'm just going to play with some different colors. Maybe we'll pull right from our palette there. Okay. Now there is a way to hide the seam. They do have an auto repeater tool, which uses a different AI to know how to seamlessly blend two edges together. I struggle with that tool though, so I'm a little reluctant to use it, but Substance Alchemist is designed to make any texture a repeating procedural texture. It can do that too. So if you just had a really cool pattern that you drew, but it didn't repeat, you could bring that into Substance Alchemist and then get it to repeat. I should try that right now actually. So how did I do that before? Was it a right click in there, or is it an effect? Okay, I think it's called import or add an effect layer. Oh, cool. So I just clicked on the layer button. The colors came from distortion of your last stream. Yeah, they came from this image, but I'm deciding to add other colors that I didn't have. So this was the original, and so like there's some blues in there that I kind of lost, so I could probably get some more blue in there. But we're basically replacing everything that was like this dark gray. I'm like kind of right now replacing it with this purple almost, to some degree. But yeah, we're still working on it. Okay, so we're gonna add a new filter, and I think one of them should get us the. Oh wow, they have a cracks filter. That's cool. Let me see what that does. Oh wow, it literally does that. It literally adds cracks to the model. Did you see that? I'll show you. Let me turn it off and on. You'll see the cracks form. Oh, I don't know how to turn it off and on. There we go. So that's off and that's on. And with the cracks on, we can play with the cracks density. So if you wanted to film something and then add cracks to it procedurally, you can do that. We have the crack spread, so it kind of looks more like it's torn up. We have the cracks color opacity, if you wanted to darken the cracks of the piece. Please do try it on the hand. It looks amazing. Oh, well, the thing is, this program doesn't let you import any mesh. It only lets you choose between a few meshes. So again, Substance Alchemist is just to generate textures. It's not how I actually, it's not a tool for finalizing stuff. So it's only giving me a few options in here to choose from. So these are different models that I can apply my texture onto procedurally. Here's a t-shirt female. Here's a t-shirt male, a preview sphere. But yeah, you can't import your own mesh into here. That's not what this tool's for. That's not an option. It can only like make materials, and it's a tool that you use to make materials, but it's limited in that sense. Yeah, that's why there's no such thing as one tool that works for everything. So that's fictitious. All right, I'm gonna make the cracks a different color just to add some more colors to the piece. I'm gonna go with this bright blue and then play with the color, and then reduce the roughness and reduce the metallic, and let's see if we can get it to look less spiky. All All right, I'm gonna reduce the height. There we go. Just want the cracks to be a little bit more subtle. Oh wow, this changes the global height of everything. Don't want to do that. We want the height to be I wonder, can you change the environment? Oh, you can. Oh my God, you can make the environment visible. Oh, that's dope. Oh my goodness, I didn't know you could do that in here. See, I learn something new all the time. Okay, I'm gonna go with the cracks like that. And see if we can maybe reduce the number of cracks a bit. So we'll go to the crack height. Oh, that's cool. You can play with the height of the cracks so that we can make the cracks of just a little bit more subtle. This is a really nice tool. I'm going to use this more often. So we can play with just the height of the cracks here. So this is the, where is it? Metallic, wait, no. Height and intensity. That's cool. So you can play with just the height of the cracks. So I'm just going to make them a little bit smaller, and then I'll maybe darken it to a slightly deeper blue, or just kind of darken it a little bit here. Okay, so we got some cracks into this thing. I kind of don't know if I like the blue cracks, but I like when the shadow's in them. The shadow looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll make it purple to keep it consistent. Okay, cool. What would happen if I put the crack layer underneath the other layers? Do they stay? Let's see. I just moved the cracks layer, it's still loading. Let's see what happens. Interesting, so it keeps the color of what I had beneath it. It keeps the color of the original, but the cracks now appear as a roughness texture. Wow, so the order of your layers extremely matter with Substance Alchemist, which I'm fine with. So cool. I'll just leave it as a texture. All right, let's play with some different backgrounds. Let's try outside of a beach. Ooh, that's pretty. Whoa. Pretty lights. All right, let's try a studio environment. Whoa. Wow. Whoa. Wild. Wow. Okay, let me try a different one. What's this? Tomoko Studio? Oh, that's cool. It's inside of a studio here. Some pretty good lights in there. Wow, I like all of these. All right. Oh, wow, you can change your camera perspective. Oh, wow, you can do this with a 50mm lens or something. Let's do a 35mm lens for the camera. And then for the shader type, they have tessellation applied. They have shadows turned on. Shadow opacity is set to strong, so we can reduce the strength of the shadows if we want it to not look so dark over there. And then we can play with our environment rotation and our environment exposure. I'm going to leave that one alone. We'll set that to 1. Okay, so you can play with your environment. That's really cool. You can play with your mesh. Oops, I accidentally moved the cracks back. Let's move the cracks back underneath the texture there. Oh, thank you so much, Dew's News. All right, I'm gonna hide the background now by going to visibility and turning it off. Wow, this is pretty. I like whatever this is doing. All right, cool. So I got this object that I'm pretty happy with. I like these swirls. They came out really fun. Okay, so we got this material finished. what we can do now is I believe you can save it as a smart material that you can save into Substance Painter so that you can later paint with this material. Yes, this was a 2K image at the start. So, yeah, which is pretty wild, right? So it's like, even for 2K resolution, I mean, you can see how many details we're getting with all the shadows and stuff, occluding things. It's very high res even for 2K. Oh wow, 999.etc says, so beautiful and mystical. Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't wait to animate this, which is going to be the next step. Yeah, I'm really happy with the lighting on here and the makeup of it. Cool. So, all right, I think we can move to the next phase. So I think there's an export button or something. How do you save this? Resources, filter. Oh, there's a filter button. That's what I was looking for, because there is a way to get rid of the seams procedurally. So let me see how it does with that. Let's do a generator. Maybe not a generator. What's it called? Weathering, tool, decal, PPR, validate, transform, scale checker. There's a lot of different effects in here. I don't know what half of these are. Oh wow, you can apply stuff based off of moss, height and growth, stone wall pattern. Wow, there's a ton of stuff. Oh my goodness, we'll have to play with this later. You can change anything into embroidery with a filter now. What's oil? I'm just curious what oil paint does. Let me save it real quick in case this crashes the computer. So I'm gonna save the current material as retro mod abstract, and I guess we'll save it into a collection. Is that what? I don't know what it saves it as. Huh. Yeah, I guess I don't know what that material gets saved as, but we'll see what it does. Oh, Steffi, welcome. So I just finished making that illustration here on the iPad. So I sketched this out with Procreate, and you can see that we had all those little bumps and stuff. We made this with the Liquify tool, and then I put this into a tool called Substance Alchemist, which is a procedural AI tool that can take any 2D image you give it and turn it into a 3D thing, a 3D texture. It preserves as a height map, displacement map. It saves all the tessellation. It can convert to triangles, and it saves as what's called a smart material, and a smart material can be used in Substance Painter. So I can later paint with this on future projects. But I'm really just going to kind of make some artwork with this, and then I'm probably going to throw it into Cinema 4D and run a twist modifier on it, or put a pulse, a formula pulse through it so it keeps like undulating. That's probably what I plan on doing. It'll be a pretty heavy file, but I won't have it loop too much. And then we'll take that final artwork and we'll put it up onto Super Rare with the song. The song that you're hearing right now is my song. I just finished making this morning. So I was going to put my music with my 2D art, with my 3D art, with the render, with some procedural AI, and then sell the whole thing as a piece of crypto artwork. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do now that we have our material, I'm going to see if I can save this as a thing that I can use in Substance Painter. Because if I can get this into Substance Painter, everything else is going to be easy. So let's do save current material. I just don't know where it saves this. If I right click on it, I don't know where it saves this data to. Let's see. Import. Oh, look at that. Import a custom filter. Save your material. Create a new material. Let me do save material. Save. All right, well, let's see what happens. I'm just going to open up Substance Painter and see if it's an option for me to paint with that new material. I'm just curious if that's a thing. So I'm just going to open up Substance Painter really quickly. Okay, so let's take a look. We're just going to do start painting. So we're just going to do the default model that comes with Substance Painter. And just going to take a look at the model here. And let's see if our smart material is saved into here or not. Let's see. Hopefully it loads up in here. Let's see. I don't see my material in here. I have my crypto art one from before. I made this procedural texture a little while ago to make a really cool like moon galaxy thing, but I don't see. Or do you just drag it into here? Let me see. Maybe that's a thing. I'm gonna split screen, so we have Substance Alchemist on the right side and we have Substance Painter on the left side. And I'm gonna see what happens if I try to drag this from one to the other. Okay, it doesn't like that. All right, how do I do this? How do I get this texture that we made in Substance Alchemist into Painter? File. Do I export the project? It's a .alc file. Okay, I don't use alc for that very often, so I don't know what I'm doing here. What about manage? Oh, as a category section. I want to try Substance Painter. That's a silly dragon logo. Oh, that's every few months, Substance will swap out a piece of artwork for the login screen of Substance Painter, so it gets swapped out. That was made by a studio, I think, in the UK. Yeah, and they were doing a demo on how you can now paint across UDIMs, which is the texture tile that is applied to every model. But yeah, there is a way to get this into Substance Painter. If I can't find it in the next 30 seconds, I'm gonna Google it. Oh, there's a button that says export. Let me click on that. Export current view. Name, retro mod abstract. User home, Substance. Oh, this is it. Oh my God, you can up-res it. I can save this as a 4K resolution thing. I'm gonna save the base color, roughness, normal maps, metallic, height, ambient occlusion, etc. I'm gonna save this to a different spot though. So we're gonna put this into volume D, lo-fi, iPad doodle. I'm gonna make a new folder in here, call it Test Alchemist. All right, we're gonna just test the Alchemist here, and I'm gonna hit export. All right, let's see what it's doing. Oh, I see it calculating something over here. So it looks like it's gonna save it as a Substance file. If that's the case, then this should open up really nicely in the next tool. I did export all of them at 4K resolution, so they are quite large. All right, almost done. 7 out of 11. Oh, it's at 8 out of 11 now. It's almost done. 10 out of 11. I exported 11 different maps. So there's roughness, height, ambient occlusion, normal map, ID map, diffuse, metallic, specular. Wait, I'm forgetting a couple. There's a lot of different maps. I can't count. There's 11 of them that I exported out. Okay, so let's see. So it should be done exporting. I'm gonna take a look at the object here and see if we can see it. So we're gonna go into my materials here and just make sure our material is here and ready to go. Documents, and we'll go to volume D here, take a look at the reference, see if we got this, and doodle, Substance Alchemist. Okay, don't see anything in here, so I don't know where it exported anything to, but this is where it should have exported to. Oh, it's still exporting. Hello. It says it's on 10 of 11, and it looks like it's stuck. Why would it get stuck there? There's more than 11 maps, but those are, you only really need like 3 maps for most game engines, but since I'm not rendering this for real time, I was gonna do like render out an absurd number of maps for extreme quality. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's frozen. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna clear it. Oh, it won't let me clear it. Huh. I don't know what's going on. I think it's frozen. The 10th map, I don't know off the top of my head. I remember I couldn't count. Export project. Export. Oh, there it goes. Okay, cool. It says it's exported. So, and it put a folder icon. Oh, look at that. Amazing. It saves it as an SBSAR file. That's important because that's what I use in Substance Painter. So that means I should be able to drag this now It's a green little substance icon. I should be able to drag this in as a smart material. Let's see. Moment of truth. Moment of truth. We're gonna split screen so that Substance Painter is here. We have our meat matte character, and I'm gonna see if we can drag this in now. So I'm just gonna grab my retro mod abstract subs SBSAR file, drag it right into our shelf. Yay! And it says it's gonna import, and I gotta choose what this is. So this is gonna be a procedural texture, and I'll import this into the shelf and hit import. Okay, it might be a little heavy, so let's use some magic here. Okay, looks like it's working. Where is it? Okay, I see. I think I saved it into the wrong spot, but it is there. That's cool. So can I paint with this? Let me try importing it one more time, maybe as a smart material instead of as a, so I'm just gonna import that in. Let's choose smart material, if that's a thing. Oh, base material, that's what I meant to choose. All right, so we got a base material, and then I'm gonna import this into the current session and hit import. Fingers crossed. Yay, this is good news, this is good news. All right, there it is. So now I should be able to apply it. Oh, wow. Yay, it works. So now I can apply it as a material onto any of my 3D models. So I'm gonna apply it onto his body here. I'm gonna apply it to the floor. And then to get the height to be a little bit taller, what I'm gonna do to get the height that I want is use tessellation. So we'll go to our texture preset options and make sure that we turn on tessellation. Where is tessellation? So this is tessellation. It's what gives height map data. So we'll go to, oh, it's enabled. I guess we just gotta increase the scale. Okay, so now we're just, oh wow, look at that. It's done. So cool, this material will now work as a paint. I'm gonna play with the tessellation height to see what kind of feels a bit better. Wow. Sweet. Oops. Cool. That's all really good. It's a really good sign. So we went from, a 2D program like Procreate, and then we turned this into a 3D texture that literally has like actual 3D data in here. And we can paint it on, so we don't have to just preserve it all like that. Now that it's a material and substance, we can add a black mask to the let's go for the head for here. I'm going to add a black mask, and now wherever I paint is going to reveal that data. See that? So you can use it to now kind of warp the model wherever I choose to paint. So you can do, this is everything. That means you can basically turn this into anything that you can dream of now. If I turn on symmetry, for example, you can give them these cool eyeballs and then a big mouth. Ta-da! All right, cool. So now that works, I'm gonna bring this into something. What am I doing? Forgot what I was gonna say. Can I export these as textures so that I can just go straight from here into maybe Adobe Dimension or maybe Redshift? Let's see, is there an export textures option? Export project option, no. Is there an export textures option? No. What's this, 2D? Oh, cool, so these are all the 2D maps. Oh, wow, look at that. Beautiful normal map. We got a roughness map, a metallic map, a height map, an ambient occlusion map, an opacity map, and a specular curve. So all these maps put together make that material what it is. So how magical is that, right? To go from, oh wow, thank you so much, Dues Noobs. But how fun is that to go from literally, a 2D sketch on an iPad, and then being able to extract a normal map, being able to extract a roughness map, a metallic map, a height map, all of this coming from our original sketch. And with this data at 4K resolution now, we can literally, do anything with this data. I mean, we can make cities, we can make worlds, environments, textures. So this is I guess this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is just 8 maps, but there's many more maps. There's so many maps. How many times can I say map? There's so many of them. So it just depends on what your goal is and how you want it to be viewed. So I'm gonna export this out now if I can. Is there an export textures option? It says export current view. Oh, it's cool. There's a 2D, 3D view. That's nice. Possibilities are limitless. Exactly. That is the takeaway. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so now what I want to do is animate this or something. So I'm going to go to export my textures, project options. Oh, I'm getting a message on Discord. Hey guys, let's see. Okay, cool. How do I get this out of here as textures? That's the new question. Viewer settings. I'm gonna need to Google this one. I actually don't know how to export textures from Alchemist. Alchemist. Substance Alchemist exporting maps. Okay. Oh, nice. Cool video.
In this video, we are going to walk through the process of
skip. Sets
here is now working.
Skip.
And then finally here you
go back.
You can click this button here to browse to, and here we can see this export's ready. So I can click this button here to browse for export view, and I could shoot it. Now, if I wanted to, I could come over while that's working, and I could hit my export view, and I could choose a different preset and do.
Yes, easy. It's just one button. It's up at the corner. You just clicked on. You're asking about maps. This is how many different maps there are. It's a lot of maps. So use your maps wisely. There's base color, diffuse, normal, roughness, metallic, specular, gloss, height, ambient occlusion, cracks, emissive, blend mask, normal 512s, opacity, multiple scans, and specular level. A lot of different maps. I guess if you take away the scans, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, about 16. It's about 16 maps that you might want to care about. Normal 512 is when you it's a trick for baking high resolution textures in games when you want them to perform better in VR. So cool. So now we finished our model. Again, for those of you just joining now, we sketched this entirely on an iPad, and then using AI and a bit of machine learning, we converted this 2D illustration into a 3D texture that has lots and lots of data. In fact, we've increased the amount of data that we could extract from this two-dimensional texture. And we got all these things called maps. And the maps are these things. We're looking at our base color map. Here's a normal map. Here's our roughness map, metallic map, height, ambient occlusion, opacity, specular level. And we can combine all of these together. We get this. This is what it would look like. It would look like this when you combine all those bits of data. Now we're going to go ahead and export our textures. And I'm going to export in 4K resolution all of these textures. We're looking at, it's a lot of data. So I'm going to make the format super large. We're going to go with the PNG, and we're going to save this to the testing Alchemist folder. And then I'm going to hit export. And it's doing its math. It's calculating. It's doing all of that math stuff. Looks like we're only exporting 9 textures. That's cool. That's all we need. PNGs are awesome. If you want to go even higher quality than a PNG, you definitely want to export an EXR file, because that's how we can get this to be extremely high quality. So right now, we made this whole thing on an iPad, and then we just brought in our final 2D texture into these procedural AI tools to extract all this wonderful 3D data. And now we can take this 3D data and what am I doing? Oh yeah. I'm going to take all this 3D data, and then we can bring it into other programs like Cinema 4D, where we're gonna render a formula that creates an animation out of all of that geometry, and then we'll light it in Redshift, and then sync it up with our own lo-fi art, lo-fi music that you heard earlier, and then we can put that up on the blockchain. It's gonna be really fun. Oh yeah, EXR. I don't know what EXR stands for. I just know it's the highest resolution you can possibly get out of an image. But it's not a file that you want to share with people. Not for privacy reasons, it's just that it's extremely inefficient to share an EXR file with people. It's just so much data. And most phones and even a lot of computers can't even open up an EXR file. If you give them an EXR, it'll say, sorry, we don't have the codecs to even read this kind of image. But it's it's the highest res image you can get. But it's so high res that you can't even share it online. It's like, because anytime you share something online, like in Instagram for that matter, all these apps that we use, they use different types of compression algorithms based off the data to shrink it down, but try to preserve the quality as much as they can. When you use an EXR file, it's a completely uncompressed format. It does no compression. So you get this beautiful, super high resolution image, but it's not usable for anything else. You have to treat it. Exactly. It's great for in-house use. So if you're trying to do a lot of work back and forth between different programs, that's when I like to use an EXR file, because I know I'm preserving every bit of color data. We're not losing any data when you send it from one program to the next. For example, if I was going to take this and bring it into Photoshop, I would probably do it as an EXR, because it preserves 100% of the data. And that's what it's all about. Okay, cool. So I think our maps have finished exporting, and we can check that by going to Substance Alchemist and going to the folder, and look at that. We have 9 different maps that this exported out. So we got, what is this one? We have our ambient occlusion, base color, height, metallic, normal maps, opacity maps, roughness, specular level. So these 9 maps should be all that we need to make really cool stuff. I mean, so I'm already happy with that, but now it's all this other data that we can extract from it that we can use for anything. Like in Silicon Valley compression? Yeah. In the show Silicon Valley, the main characters, they made an app that was able to compress video better than anything before it, which is why they had so much money for their evaluation. They were able to compress it in a super lossless format. Compression is, compression math, and the writers of compression algorithms are geniuses. It's a lot of work and complicated math to try to preserve the quality of something but pass the data along. So yeah, that was the premise of that show, and it's very real. All right, so I'm just going to save this. What happens if I close this? Will I lose it? Whatever. Okay, so just close it. Cool. Now we're going to open up Cinema 4D. Give it a second to load. Let's see how we're doing on time here. Okay, cool. So now what we're going to do is open up Cinema 4D, and we have a 2D image. We now have 9 different maps. We're ready to take this up another level in quality. So I'm going to start off with a sphere. If you don't want to do a sphere, you could do anything you want. But for now, I'm just going to do a sphere. And I'm going to display it as lines. And then we're just going to apply our material onto here. So I'm just going to make a new material graph. What's your time budget? What are you talking about? For what? Time budget for what? I create different budgets of time based off of the task. Right now, I consider this time my marketing budget. Because a lot of my new clients, I get them through Instagram, and they've seen live streams, and then they need the same kind of stuff for their own. So that's kind of how I get a lot of business. It's how I can justify doing all the live streams, teaching this stuff, which I do professionally. I can justify giving a lot of this knowledge away for free because I get a lot of work from it. A bunch of work comes straight off of Instagram. You looked at your watch? What's your time budget? I've never heard that term before, time budget. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to import a new texture. So what I'm going to do is go into Redshift engine and bring up the Redshift render engine. Actually, we shouldn't do that. Let's focus on the math part first. So what I'm going to do is take our sphere and multiply the number of segments it's been cut into. I'm going to multiply it by 128. So this makes a lot more segments. If it's a little hard to see, I'm going to darken the background of the texture layer so we'll be able to see it a little bit better. All right, so we're going to apply that black texture onto the sphere, so we should be able to see the bright green lines that stand out on it. Just takes a second to load here. Oh, I must have missed it. There we go. All right, cool. So this is relatively high quality. We can maybe up it. So, hey Siri, what is 128 times 2?
It's 256.
Okay, dope. Let's do 256 polygons instead. We'll just double the quality. Okay, cool. So we got 256 polygons, super high res, and now I'm gonna run a formula through here. So I'm gonna group this geometry to a current object, and then we'll delete our abstract one. And then we're gonna run a procedure through here called formula. So the formula is really cool. I'm gonna just throw on the formula tag. Where's formula? Where are you? I don't know why I don't see it. Let me look a little bit more slowly. There it is, formula. We're going to apply a formula onto this. And what it's going to do is pass a ripple through the sphere. Look at that. So now there's a formula that is passing through the sphere. And we can do anything to this formula, including change the size of the formula. Or my favorite is change the numbers of our formula. So the formula that this is running right now is an algorithm. This is straight up math. I don't know math very well, but it's using sine, and it's assigning a value to the u and t. It's multiplying it by 2, multiplying it by pi, or by multiplying it by phi. So I don't know all that math at all. So what I do is I just change a number one at a time and then see how it changes my formula. So I don't know math, but I know shapes. So let me just plug in a number and see what happens. Let's multiply it by 3. Okay, cool. So I guess that must be the time integer because it's sped up. So let's multiply it by 0.4. All right, now it's stopped entirely. So, okay, what if we multiply it by 0.2? Interesting. So now it's slower. What if we multiply it by, let's back it up. What if we multiply this by 0.24? Oh, wow. So that must be the intensity of the warping. That's pretty cool. What if we multiply it by 0.1? So now it's much lighter. I think that would be kind of cool for ours. And I guess if I wanted to slow it down, we can multiply it by 1. Great. Actually, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Let's multiply it by 3. Ooh. It's like a lava lamp. Nice. Okay, so next we're going to do is go to our formula and play with the fall off of our formula. So with the formula fall off, I'm going to throw on what's called a spherical field. Where is it? Spherical field. The spherical field is going to isolate what areas can be under the influence of the formula. So if I move the sphere over here, it's going to create a formula only on that region. So it's a really good way to create like procedural lava and fire. Because then you could turn that whole sphere into a light source, and then our brains would interpret it as fire. We can also increase the diameter if we want it to be more extreme, or we can reduce it if we want it to be more subtle. And the outer one is the sphere of influence. So it's how much of the area is going to be impacted. You can see how it's just the tiny part there versus this being the whole thing. And what I was going to do is just animate this object to pass through it a couple times. So I can animate the sphere to pass through the object, and it will just bring little regions of it to life. I think the formula that we mapped, though, I think I messed up something because it seems to be breaking at a certain point. Oh, it's breaking at the loop. So let's increase the formula time to 180 frames, and now it won't break as fast. Now we have a little bit more time before it breaks the looping cycle. Like a projectile? Oh, it does look like flubber. Good call. Yeah, they probably used a lot of formula dynamics There's also soft body dynamics, rigid body dynamics, so much physics in 3D, which is so freaking cool. Again, I'm one of the... Whoa! I did not know about this box. Oh my God, you can increase the number of ripples? No freaking way. I've used this program for how many years, and I did not know that this would change the... It looks like it's changing the wavelength. Wow, you can change the wavelength with the box. Oh my goodness, I had no clue I could do that. Wow, so you can change the mu of the waveform as well as the frequency in hertz. And then the outer sphere is where it's going to be influencing that motion. So if you just want to ripple in the top, or if you want to ripple all the way through the bottom. Whoa, this is so cool. Oh, wow, look at that. I had no idea that the formula was based off of that box. I'm going to continue to play with this box. So yeah, this is the wavelength. So I guess if you wanted to create lots of waves, you can shorten the box, which increases the number of hertz. And then if you widen the box, it slows the frame. Wow. Wow, this is nuts. What happens if I shorten the box? No freaking way. You can have it. Oh my God. You can have ripples in all directions now. Dude, how did I not know about this? I've been using Cinema 4D since 2016. And I've never knew to play with that box. This would have helped me in so many different projects. And now I'm going to do it all the time. Now that I know how to do it. What happens if I rotate this? Would it be weird? Oh, wow. You can rotate it. Oh my goodness. You can do cross. Wow. Yeah, sine and cosine is super dope. You could probably, I wonder if I kept stacking, I wonder if I stacked 3 formulas together, would it start to look like actual ocean currents? I bet it would. But let me stay focused. I want to just replace the grid with a texture now. But let me go back. Wow, I had no idea how much more dynamic the formula tool was. It's so much more dynamic, but more on that later. Wow, so if you want extreme waves, you just make the mu very high, and then you shorten it to increase the wavelength, and now it's like almost like a dance. And then you can shorten it if you want to come in from other directions. Wow, yeah, I'm definitely going to be using this for all sorts of new things. Okay, cool. Now that we got that, it says don't forget tangent. What's tangent? Let me Google that. I mean, I know what tangent is in Illustrator, but what is a tangent in the formula here? Wow, look at the ripples. That's so cool. And you can like rotate it. Oh my goodness. Wow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wow, this is so wild. Okay. Sorry, I'm just tripping out on math here. It's a positive thing to trip out on. You know, you don't erase your brain when you start tripping out on math. Okay, you said sine and cosine. Oh yeah, because that's this is using a sine wave. Yeah. Oh, hold on, I gotta respond to a message. I'll be right back. Hey guys, so on Monday and last Tuesday, when's a good time to catch up? Weekend. Not sure. We can meet up today. Don't look at my calendar. Hold on a second. Let's see. Okay, cool. This is to come up with the story of her Okay. Cool. So we got this waveform here. Now I'm just going to replace this with a material. Wow, look at the ripples. All right, so we're going to replace this with a material here. And with that rippling, we're going to now replace this with a texture that I made from earlier. So we're going to switch it to the Redshift render engine. Let's do 2. Okay, sorry, I have to plan a meeting real quick. Give me 1 second. I'll have a meeting at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's meet and discuss the character rigging part. Okay, cool. Yep. It's fun when you work for yourself. You always got lots of projects in the background. So I like to do these like personal fun projects so I can keep growing in my 3D knowledge. But in order to fund it, you got to work. So this is a client-related project. So anyway, we got this cool formula here, and we have a solver for the intensity of it and its dissolve. All right, so with Redshift open, we can hit play here. And it's going to get really heavy because it's a lot of calculations. So what I'm going to do is throw on our materials. So we're going to create a new Redshift material. Go to Redshift and create a new Redshift material. Redshift material. Cool. And then we're going to apply the Redshift material. So what's the program called? Oh, the app on the iPad is called Procreate. It's an app for the iPad. Cool. I'm going to apply our Redshift material onto our object here. And then for fun, we're going to apply an extension known as not an extension. Let's just jump into the Redshift graph. And remember how we made those 9 maps earlier? What we do is we import all of those in. So I'm just going to import all 9 and just drag them into here. You'll have to hit OK 9 times, though. It's the only frustrating part about dragging stuff into Redshift. Oh, wow. It didn't ask for me to OK all of them. So these are all the 9 materials that we made in Substance Alchemist. It's a lot. And what we need to do is connect all 9 of these into the shader graph. This is a shader graph. This is the material of an object, and this is what it's going to output to the render engine. So this is our material, this is our render engine. And we need to feed all of our maps. All of these maps need to be fed into the proper part of the material in order for them to appear in our render engine. So maps, a material, and a render engine. This is how every 3D object comes to life. I'll repeat it again. You got your maps, all right? So you can take all your maps, then they have to be fed into the right channels inside of a material, and then once they're in a material, they can output to a render engine. So the nodes don't have to be as scary. I used to be very scared. These are also called nodes. So nodes are these little things and all the strings. It's kind of like a neural network. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the friendliest, easiest one. So I'm going to split the screen here and zoom in to our Redshift render engine. And we're going to start off with the friendliest one, which is the output color. So I'm going to go to our texture color and import this as our Redshift material as the diffuse. And you'll see in a second, it will appear. There we go. So now we got our material. And already you can hit play and you can see that it's going to come to life, which is pretty cool. Now it's going to play back slowly, at least at first, because it needs to calculate all of this stuff. But for the time being, it's pretty cool that it actually works. So I'm going to turn off the formula, or at least turn down the formula strength for a few minutes here, because it is a little on the strong side. Cool. All right, so that's just our redshift material. Next, that's our color. Next, we're gonna feed the roughness. So I'm gonna go to our material graph and output the roughness into here and do a diffuse roughness. Or no, I'll go into our metallic properties and we'll make this the roughness of our material. Then we're gonna output I had the wrong one. This one I meant to do the roughness there. Okay, and this one's our height field. This is how it's gonna look all bumpy and cool. So we're gonna import that in as the overall height input. If I can find where height is, where did they move the height subsurface to? Reflection, transmitter, base properties. I don't see a height field for any of these. All right, we'll come back to the height. I don't know where that is right now. Next, we're going to take our normal map and convert it into a bump map. A bump map is an older form of a normal map. All newer stuff use normal maps, but since this is an old feature, I have to convert it into an old format before feeding it into our texture as the bump input. Okay, so this is going to give it the ability to have bumps and stuff. Oh yeah, this is definitely graphical programming. Next, we're going to go to our metallic field and set this as our metallic. So I'm going to send that in there as the reflection property known as its metallic amount. So we'll go to metallic, reflection metallic. Next, we'll go to our ambient occlusion, and I'm going to feed that into the thing and set this in as the, I don't know what you call it in here. What did they rename ambient occlusion to? I don't know what it's named in here. We'll come back to that. Let's see if those are good enough to get us started. I know we're missing opacity, we're still missing height, we're missing occlusion now, but I just don't know where all of those are. But I know these four are the ones I use the most, so I'm just gonna put them up here. These ones make stuff extra sweet, but I don't want to deal with it yet. So let's go to our advanced settings and go to our overall coding. All right, here's our advanced tab. So where is our height coming from? I don't see the height anywhere. Okay. Hello. All right, so we are just about done with the main parts here. Now I'm going to bring in some nice lights so that we can see our materials a bit better. Okay, well, all right, so what we'll do is we're going to add a new redshift environment known as the redshift environment, and it's going to be an infinite white light, at least when it starts. Actually, no, we could do a redshift dome light, which will be a white light that goes around the whole thing like a dome. Cool. And yeah, and then I don't know why we're not really seeing much of the expression of the material up here. Doesn't look like it at all. Where's for example, the bumps? I don't see any of the bumps. Reflection converter. Oh yeah, we're getting to lighting. Wait, I don't know. Something weird is going on here for me. For whatever reason, I'm missing an important shader graph. Maybe it's in the output channel. No? What about material channel? Basic base properties, multi-shader coding, overall optimization. Sometimes when I'm getting lazy with Redshift, because sometimes I'm not a fan of setting up all the nodes. Oh yeah, it's definitely too bright, but I'm just trying to see if I can get bumps to appear. Because my bump map is like the main thing that I did work on. I want to see that appear here. So sometimes, like right now, I'm feeling a little lazy, just a tiny bit lazy. Where it's coming from is sometimes if I'm working too hard for too long, I might want to skip out on steps. So what I'm going to do now in response to this is try a lazy technique. Yeah, do something lazy. So the lazy thing would be to go to make a new material in here. Actually, can I just close all this? Can I just do a new blank? Okay, import. What to do here? Yeah, because I'm feeling a little lazy. So what I might do instead is maybe just do a still image. Or you know what, I could just stop for now because I don't want to be lazy, but I feel like I'm working a little bit too much on this right now. So I'm going to stop because I need to do some client work. All right, so yeah, we did a lot of streaming today. We went from, sculpting stuff in 2-dimension. Take it easy by the Eagles. Yeah, there you go. Take it easy. So I need to go do some client work, but and take a break. So thanks for tuning in. And I think this live stream might be too long to save. I'll try to upload it, but it deleted my other one earlier today. So we'll see. Hopefully learned a bunch of stuff, some processes, some workflows. So thanks for stopping by Dudes News, and I'll see you all in the next one. Oh, Helen, thanks for stopping by as well. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.